Over the course of the last 8 weeks, we've presented Duck Preview virtual programs specifically for prospective students who will graduate high school in 2021. What follows is a compilation of these programs, so you'll notice different sets, different people, and different outfits through this video. It includes one of the admissions presentations, some of our student perspectives, the university housing segment, and information about financial aid and scholarships. Each event also included a presentation about one of our undergraduate schools and colleges. They are all available to view in another video, which you can find here on YouTube or at virtual.uoregon.edu. I'm excited for you to learn more about what life is like as a University of Oregon Duck. Enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to the University of Oregon's Virtual Duck Preview. My name is Cora Bennett. I'm the Director of Student Orientation Programs here at the University of Oregon, and it's such a pleasure to welcome you here today. It's important to me that we start this afternoon with a land acknowledgement. The University of Oregon is located on Kalapuya-Ilihi, the traditional homelands of the Kalapuya people. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, the Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to the Coast Reservation in Western Oregon. Today, their descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community, the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians of Oregon, and they continue to make important contributions in their communities to the University of Oregon and across the land now referred to as Oregon. We're here today virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has changed our way of life for the last 7 months. It's essential, though, that we recognize our history and that context in the broader world. Because Black Lives Matter and systemic racism is real, we continue to reflect and assess on whether we are a place where equity is real and see that we act when it is not, and that all students, faculty, and staff live and learn in a just, safe, and healthy community that promotes student success for all. We believe that as individuals and as a university, we have the opportunity to be important voices for positive change. We are continuing to work to make our own campus a more equitable and diverse university. We are serving the public through inclusive higher education and can influence our community through research and advocacy for change. I'm so glad that we're part of the early stages of your college search and hope that you find in us a university where you will feel welcome, safe, and supported, and where you're excited to thrive. As you're moving through your senior year and finalizing your list of colleges and universities that you'll apply to, we know that it's critical for you to know more about the UO's admission criteria and our process. So I'm really happy to welcome Jing Shi, admissions counselor, here with us today. Jing and her colleagues are here to answer your questions, and she does, as I mentioned earlier, have 2 colleagues there in the Q&A answering questions. So I'm happy to turn things over to you now, Jing.
Thanks, Cora. As Cora mentioned, my name is Jing Shi, and I'm an admissions counselor at the University of Oregon. I'm so glad that you're able to join us today to learn about how you can apply to the U of O. First, I'd like to kick us off by sharing a little bit about how you can apply to U of O, and later we'll have some time for Q&A. Many students ask me, Jing, what GPA do I need to have to get into the University of Oregon? Well, that question is a little bit complex for us to answer, but in a good way, because we like to look at you as a whole person rather than just a number. When reviewing application, we take a look into a variety of factors into your academic consideration. I'm looking at your overall grade trend. Do you have a positive grade trend, a negative grade trend? What kind of classes have you been taking your freshman year? And do you have a strong senior year schedule? All of that contributes to your academic assessment. Your personal assessment comes from what you do and how you spend your time outside of the classroom. I like to know if you're involved in any clubs and organization. Do you have a job? Are you volunteering with the community? Or do you have family responsibilities? All of that I can take a look at whether this person is going to be successful at the University of Oregon and will they make a positive contribution to the University of Oregon. Lastly, you'll notice that the U of O is a test optional institution. That means you're not required to submit any test scores to consider for admission. If you have them, please feel free to send them in. If you don't, do not worry. We understand that a number of tests have been canceled this year due to the pandemic, and we will not be using test scores for scholarships at all. Again, if you have them, please send them in. If you don't, please do not worry. Now I'd like to take a look and talk about our deadline. Our early action deadline was November 1, so we just passed that deadline. And if you're one of the students who missed the November early action deadline, please do not worry. You will not be put at a disadvantage if you miss the deadline. Our next upcoming deadline is January 15th. It's our regular deadline. All the supporting documents should be in by February 15th, such as uploading your self-academic records for the mid-year grades. And you will have a decision from us by April 1, which is a month before the National Decision Day. Of course, we love having our students tell us that they want to be a duck before May 1, but you have May 1 to decide whether U of O is a good fit for you. Applying to the U of O, you have 3 options. We do not have a preference. You can choose the common application, the coalition application, and the Oregon application. Again, there is no preference in which one you use. Lastly, I'd like to extend the invitation to you all to connect with one of us in my team. We love meeting students. As an admissions counselor, I love meeting my students in person, this year through Zoom, phone appointments, email, whichever is best for you. So go online to the admissions webpage, type into your zip code, and see who your admissions counselor is, and we'd love to be a part of this journey with you. That is all for my presentation. Now I'd like to turn it back to Cora, and we'll have some Q&A.
Thank you, Jing. I do have some questions that have come in during the course of your presentation. But I think before we start asking questions, I would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that you're a recent alumnus of the U of O and actually a recent alumnus of the Ambassador Program. It's always nice to see you.
It's good to see you, Cora.
Okay, so our first question was pre-submitted by Giovanni. And Giovanni has asked us, how much weight do the optional essays carry?
I'm sorry, do you say optional
the essays? Yes.
So we have 2 optional essays. One is about diversity and inclusion. So tell us how you plan to make the U of O a little bit more equitable and more inclusive. The second one is special circumstances. So it's a space for our students to tell us a little bit about themselves that we don't see on the application. Maybe you had a tough semester. Tell us why. The more you let us know, the more we'll be able to consider you.
Perfect, thank you so much. Jamie is asking us live in the Q&A, will you be using test scores for the class of 2022?
As I mentioned, we are a test optional institution. So starting this year, we will not be required for students to submit test scores. And so no, when I say optional, it means optional.
And right now there's no plan for that to change after the pandemic, if and when it goes away?
No, we actually had that in place before the pandemic even happened. And so if anything were to change, we would definitely keep you in the know. But no, right now we do not.
Perfect, thank you so much. Alina is asking us in the Q&A, how diverse is the University of Oregon?
Alina, that's a great question. You know, as someone that have lived in a different country and moved to Oregon and gone to school at Oregon, I think the U of O is such a wonderful place, not just for higher education, but really to do life. You know, this is my 6th year at the U of O now, 7th actually, and I don't have plans to leave anytime soon. It is such a welcoming community for our students, our faculty. There is just a place for everyone. So whether that is in classroom or in student groups, it is such a welcoming place, and I just love it here so much.
Perfect. And just for statistics, last year, Alina, our entering freshman class came in at about 34% of our domestic students identified as a racial minority group. And so that includes Black students, Indigenous students, Latinx students, Native American students. I said Indigenous, didn't I? But so that gives you a sort of a sense of, if you were wondering about the numbers, that kind of gives you a sense of the numbers there, Alina. Isai, has asked us also in the Q&A, if we applied early action and don't get accepted, can we try and reapply in January?
So our students, when they apply early action, there's no higher or lower chance of getting into the University of Oregon. It simply allows us to review the application a little bit earlier and give them a decision. And so you may be put in a holistic review. That means we need a little bit more time to look into your application. And if for some reason you do not get into the U of O, there will be an appeal process as well. So be on lookout for that. But I think that you should keep a positive energy at this point.
Well, and in some years, students are added to a wait list and offered admission later on too. So it doesn't necessarily mean that admission is off the table completely if they're not admitted right away, correct?
Most certainly. And you know, Cora, we're always looking for more reasons to say yes to a student than no to a student. And when we make those decisions, we don't make them lightly. So yes, there are options there.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that was our next one. This is our last one from Andrew. What kind of opportunities are there to check in with admissions counselors?
Well, thanks, Andrew, for your question. There are plenty of opportunities for you to check in with us. I'm so glad that you're able to join us today. But if you have any further questions or any future questions, please feel free to reach out to me or one of my colleagues in the office. We're super easy to find if you go onto the U of O website, go into admissions, type in your zip code, and your admissions counselor will pop up. Or if you go over to visit virtual.uoregon.edu, you'll be able to see a lot of resources for you to make a Zoom call, phone appointments. We're really here to help you, and we're just so glad that you're able to consider us and join us today.
Well,
Thanks, Cora.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Jing. Again, for students who want to be able to chat with you more, go to the admissions site or to virtual.uoregon.edu. Again, thank you, Jing. Like I said, it's always such a pleasure to see you again.
Thank you, Cora. It's always so good to see you, and being a duck has been one of my biggest pride. So I really hope that we can get more students here and see what it's all about. Thank you.
We want you to hear from one of our experts on what it means to be a duck, one of our students. Ivy, who is originally from Corvallis, Oregon, and is a senior studying general music, is joining us today.
My name is Hayden. I'm a junior from Golden, Colorado, majoring in business administration with a double concentration in marketing and sports business.
Chloe, who is a senior originally from Larkspur, California, and studying family human services, is joining us today.
Hi there, my name is Kaylee. I'm a senior from Portland, Oregon. I'm studying political science with minors in international studies, legal studies, and leadership and administrative skills.
Hi, Ivy.
Hi, Cora. Thank you, and thank you, everyone. It's so great to be here today. So I decided to go to the U of O for a couple of reasons. First, the location was ideal for me because Eugene is just an hour away from my hometown, Corvallis. But I was also really excited to move to another place and explore a larger city than the place I grew up. Also, Eugene is gorgeous, especially in the fall. I was also really interested in the U of O because of our wide variety of areas of study to choose from. I knew I would have a lot of opportunities to explore and grow my academic interests while here at U of O.
One reason I chose the University of Oregon was the first time I came to visit. I was very nervous about choosing a school that was the right fit for me, but as soon as I stepped foot on campus, I felt such a strong sense of community, a home away from home for me. Now, I know that sounds a little cliche, but it truly wasn't. I saw all the endless opportunities for myself as a young, motivated individual and a chance to make a name for myself. To this day, I can say that these past 2 years have been the best 2 years of my entire life. All the endless connections, game days in Autzen Stadium, internships, and job opportunities are just a sliver of my experience at the UO.
There were so many factors that led me to attending the University of Oregon. Everyone on campus is so proud to be a duck, and the interactions that I had before coming here with students, faculty, and even alumni were just so positive.
Overall, my time at the Honors College and at University of Oregon has prepared me exceptionally well for my next steps, which will include going to law school in fall of 2021.
We do have several questions that students ask, and I don't know if we told you this ahead of the program, but some of the students asked us questions when they registered for the program, and then we have students who are asking us questions live. So I'll let you know how they've come in so that students can listen for their question as well. During registration, Sean asked us, how do you manage your social life and your schoolwork?
You know, that's a really good question. I would say a really great way just to kind of mesh those two together is I really have enjoyed studying with my friends, even if we're in two different classes or whatever it is, finding a nice spot on campus just to sit down, especially on the weekends, and just crank out all that work that you've got is a really great way to not only get to know other people, but also just to make sure that you're staying on top of your studies for sure.
School spirit is important to me. What activities and events do you most enjoy?
My favorite one, as I did mention a little bit earlier, are game days in Autzen Stadium. This is such an incredible and surreal experience because it's quite cool to see that this state doesn't have They only have 2 professional sports teams, so in my eyes and many other people in the state, they look at the University of Oregon as the main team. It's incredible to see on Saturday, everyone dressed in their green, white, yellow, whatever we're wearing to the game. They make the walk to Autzen, which it's a very beautiful walk. You truly do walk over the river, through the woods, not to Grandma's house, but to Autzen Stadium, and you cheer on the school. It's such an incredible feeling, and it's a great community to be around, as you can see.
Haley has asked us live, what advice would you give applicants who are anxious about applications?
That's a really sweet question. I remember being there. I would say overall, it's going to be okay. I actually entered the U of O as an undeclared, now called exploring major, and then I declared a music education major in the winter of my freshman year, and I was just fine. So I would say it's all going to be okay. Just take a breath and trust in your musical ability, put your best foot forward. And if it doesn't happen the first time, kind of as Bob was saying earlier, it's going to be okay. There's a lot of ways to get enrolled in music core, the music core classes from your first term freshman year, even if you're not declared as a music major yet. So like me, I was enrolled in all the same classes as a music major. It just wasn't declared yet. And then in winter, I became a declared music major.
How is the food?
Oh, this is a great question. And as I said, I am a junior. I actually currently still have a meal plan. I do live off campus, but boy, oh boy, those meals are absolutely incredible. And one of my favorite things is it's very diverse. There are about 5 different areas on campus where you can get different food. There's a bunch of different places. If you're interested in buffet style, we have stuff like that. Or if you would like a sandwich, burrito, salad, there's all different types of food that you can choose from. And it's very nice because you're not having that same meal every day. You can switch it up, and it's absolutely incredible. Sadly, sometimes better than my cooking.
What is your favorite study spot on campus, and what's your favorite spot to hang out on campus?
I absolutely love hanging out in the Urban Memorial Union, or the EMU as we call it. It's our student union. It's in the heart of campus. It's home to over 250 different student groups, clubs, and organizations, as well as different food vendors and cool places to sit and hang out. Specifically in the EMU, I love sitting in the giant chair. And when I say giant, I mean giant. There's tons of natural lighting, and it's super comfy.
What are some of your favorite memories from being in the music program here at the U of O?
Yeah, it's a sweet question, Carmen. There's so many to choose from, and I think they happen in the nuances of classes and meeting people in the hallways. I would really say just my favorite overall memory is all of the friends that I've made in the music building, also outside. You just run into people so often because you get to be in the same courses as them, you get to study in the lounges with them, and form some really sweet friendships there. I also would say, honestly, finding my primary thesis advisor during spring term. I actually found my primary thesis advisor through kind of a joint class in the music school and the honors college, and got to get to know him, and now I'm very excited about writing a music thesis for my honors college requirement.
What do you like to do around campus or in Eugene in your free time? You mentioned CrossFit, I know, but what else do you like to do?
Yeah, I really like eating. So a lot of my time is visiting our different restaurants and food carts around Eugene. I live just down the street from Sweet Life Patisserie, which is my favorite place to go get a sweet treat. They also have vegan and gluten-free options, so there's a treat for everyone. Right now, my favorite places to eat with the cold weather are Taste of India, and I love going downtown to get a slice of pizza at Sizzle Pie.
What is it like in the surrounding city and town? So I'd love to hear your perspective on that. And I'm going to add a little bit of my own question in there about the transition to Eugene from out of state. I think that's a really important perspective because we do have so many students joining us today from out of state.
Yeah, definitely. I come from a small town in a suburb just outside of San Francisco. So Eugene was definitely a new environment for me. I hadn't been to many places. I really don't think there are many places like Eugene. And that's what makes it so charming and fun. Something that my friends and I really love doing is going to the Saturday market, which is kind of like a craft fair combined with a farmer's market. Sometimes there's live music. Just a really great way to kind of, join the scene in Eugene. My friends and I really enjoyed going on walks and hikes. It's a very outdoorsy and beautiful, beautiful area. The fall foliage here is so amazing. I'll just constantly go on walks just to look at all the leaves turning. And yes, coming from a state like California, or even just coming out of state in general, like, you're going to have so many new memories to make when you come here. And that's what's fun about Eugene, just having such a charm to it.
Kaylee, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Cora, and good luck, everyone. Let's go Ducks.
Thank you so much, Cora, and as always, go Ducks!
Thank you so much for having me, Cora. Go Ducks!
Because living on campus is such an important part of the student experience, we want you to have a brief glimpse into housing options and how to register for housing once you're admitted to the University of Oregon. Alex Galbraith, Director of Promotions and Student Recruiting in University Housing, has recorded a brief video for you to learn more. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Alex Galbraith, Director of Promotions and Recruitment in University Housing at the University of Oregon, and I'm going to share with you what living on campus is all about. At the U of O, all first-year students are required to live on campus so that we can support your success and transition to college. Students who live in our learning-centered residential communities have higher GPAs, higher retention and graduation rates, and are graduating faster. Living on campus is all about connections, to friends, to resources, and to great food. So let's talk fast facts about housing. We have 10 different residence halls, 5 meal plan options, and there are many unique dining venues that offer a variety of food options, including ingredients from local farms. There are many options for you to make your experience living on campus the best one for you. Our residence halls are designed to support and enhance the experience of all of our students, from live-in faculty and faculty fellows to community kitchens, maker spaces, and music practice rooms. One way that you can discover your community and get even more out of your experience living in the residence halls is to be a part of one of our residential communities or academic residential communities, also known as ARCs. Students who have similar passions, interests, or identities can live together in the same residence hall, and if you're a part of an academic residential community, you'll even take some classes together. I am really excited to share with you all that for fall 2021, we will open a brand new residence hall. This new building will have common spaces that are dedicated to the academic life of the U of O student, including classrooms, study areas, and a new space for a faculty in residence, which is a faculty member who lives in the residence halls and engages with the students. There will be spaces for academic residential communities and a vibrant learning commons that is designed to support our residential students' academic and social success. We will also have the Pacific Northwest Market, which will feature 9 distinct dining venues, and the Ducks House, a public restaurant that celebrates the traditions, spirit, and energy of U of O sports. So you may be wondering, how do I register for housing? The first step is to apply for admission to the University of Oregon. Then, in December, the housing registration will open up to those who have been offered admission to the U of O. If you are still deciding on whether or not to become a Duck, no worries. We still encourage you to register for housing because the sooner you register, the more options and priority you will have when it comes time to choosing your room. And if plans change, you'll have the opportunity to let us know. With that, I invite you to learn more about university housing and explore our different residence halls and communities online. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions you have or even schedule a time to meet with me virtually. I hope to see you on campus next fall, and go Ducks!
Up next, Nick Dykes, Financial Aid Counselor in the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships, will share a little bit about the financial aid process for 2021-22.
Hi, I'm Nick Dykes, and I'm a Financial Aid Counselor. In this segment, we'll talk about how to apply for financial aid at the University of Oregon, the scholarships that we offer, and a timeline for your senior year. The main application for financial aid at the University of Oregon is the FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. If you're not eligible to submit a FAFSA, you can submit an ORSA, which is the Oregon Student Aid application. Let's talk about those two options. The purpose of the FAFSA is to determine your and your family's ability to pay for college. It becomes available on October 1st of each year, and the priority filing deadline at the University of Oregon is March 1st. That means you want to submit your FAFSA before March 1st in order to have the maximum eligibility for financial aid at the University of Oregon. This is the application that you should submit if you're a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident of the United States, and you can complete it at fafsa.gov or studentaid.gov/FAFSA. The ORSA, or the Oregon Student Aid Application, is an alternative way to determine your ability to pay for college. This is the one that you would submit if you don't have a Social Security number, if you're in the DACA program, or you're undocumented. Now, if you submit an ORSA, you won't be able to get federal financial aid, but you can still get aid from the state of Oregon and from the University of Oregon. You can complete the ORSA at oregonstudentaid.gov. Let's talk about scholarships. Some of the scholarships at the University of Oregon are automatically offered based on your admissions application, and others require an additional application. So in terms of scholarships that could automatically be offered, you might get the Apex or the Summit or the UO Excellence Scholarship. These will be determined by your GPA as determined on the self-reported academic record portion of your admissions application. For example, the Summit Scholarship is $4,000 per year if you're an Oregon resident, or $10,000 per year if you're not an Oregon resident, and it requires a 3.9 GPA as determined by our Office of Admissions. In contrast, the STAMP Scholarship requires a separate application, so do the Presidential Scholarships and the Diversity Excellence Scholarship. The STAMP Scholarship requires that you have applied for early action admission and that you submit the scholarship application by November 15th. The Diversity Excellence and the Presidential applications are due February 1st. Now, there's a special grant program at the University of Oregon that will potentially cover your tuition and fees for all 4 years, and we call it Pathway Oregon. If you qualify, you'll also receive academic support from dedicated advisors. So students who are in the Pathway Oregon program tend to graduate faster and with better grades, and there's no separate application to be considered for Pathway Oregon. In order to be eligible, you need to be an Oregon resident, you need to graduate from an Oregon high school within the last 2 years, you need to be admitted as a first-time freshman and begin in a fall term. You need to have at least a 3.4 high school GPA as determined by our Office of Admissions. And you need to be eligible for the federal Pell Grant, which means that you have a high financial need as determined by the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You should submit the FAFSA by February 15th to be considered for Pathway Oregon. Additionally, at the University of Oregon, we have the Oregon Guarantee. Your tuition and most of your fees will be at a fixed cost for up to 5 years. So the rate that you pay in your first term is the rate that you pay for up to a 5-year period. You'll automatically have the Oregon Guarantee when you enroll at the University of Oregon. There is a separate resident and non-resident tuition rate, and tuition is assessed per credit. So this gives you the certainty to plan for what the University of Oregon is going to cost before your financial aid is applied. Let's talk about a timeline for your senior year. In the fall, you should apply for admission to the University of Oregon, and note that our regular admission deadline is January 15th. We'll use the information that you provide on your admissions application to determine what automatic merit scholarships you're eligible to receive. Additionally, about a week after you apply for admission, you'll receive an email invitation to our scholarship dashboard, and you can use the link in that email to apply for those scholarships that require an additional application. In the fall, you should also submit your FAFSA or your ORSA, and you can submit those before or after you apply for admission to the University of Oregon. I also recommend that you search for and apply for as many private scholarships as you can, as well as scholarships through the University of Oregon and your state. In the winter, you should submit all required admission application materials by February 15th. This includes any updates to your self-reported academic record, but note that in most cases we don't need your transcripts until the summer. Our priority filing deadline for the FAFSA and the ORSA is March 1st, and February 15th if you're an Oregonian going for the Pathway Oregon Scholarship. Around this time, we'll also let you know if there's any additional documentation we need to finalize the information on your FAFSA. Looking ahead to the spring, we'll send you your financial aid offer around the end of March, and if you decide to attend the University of Oregon, you can accept or decline the aid that you were offered and complete any requirements that are necessary to get it ready to go. We know there are a lot of questions about financial aid, and we're ready to help. Please give us a call, send us an email, or meet with us in a virtual drop-in appointment. All the information that I've covered in this presentation is available at financialaid.uoregon.edu.
Now that you've learned the ins and outs of applying to the University of Oregon and heard from some of our amazing students, it's time to take action. If you haven't yet applied for admission for fall 2021, the deadline for first-year students is January 15th. please visit admissions.uoregon.edu to complete your application. Also important to remember is, as Nick mentioned, to submit your FAFSA and applications for any scholarships you're interested in. Admitted students will be invited to a variety of programs in the spring. You'll have a chance to learn more about the University of Oregon and keep your ducks in a row. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I get to welcome you as a new duck in just a few short months.